franchise Shane Douglas, ECW's original World Heavyweight Champion. Right now, you're watching the #1 wrestling podcast on all of Long Island, Monty and the Pharaoh.
Monty and the Pharaoh. Monty and the Pharaoh.
The Monty and Pharaoh Show.
And you're watching the Monty and Pharaoh Show.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
With Monty and the Pharaoh.
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 Monty and Pharaoh.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
And Monty and the Pharaoh. Oh, is it Monty and the Pharaoh?
Monty and Pharaoh.
The Monty and the Pharaoh Show.
Monty and the Pharaoh. To the Monty and the Pharaoh Show. And it's Monty and the Pharaoh, baby.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
With Monty and the Pharaoh. Monty and the Pharaoh. Oh, what a rush. We've got the future Hall of Famer, that rocker, Marty Jannetty, MJ in the house, and I'm sitting here with two more future Hall of Famers, Monty and the Pharaoh. We're doing that stuff and we gonna rock it.
We're living this life, not just dreaming it, we're doing it for it. Straight to the top. Working hard every day just to leave out that tower.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast scene, only here from Village Connection Radio, live from Rockstar Studios. A special Saturday edition, and at the board is my super producer, Mr. Stephen Miller. Stephen, how are you, my friend?
What's up, Monty and the
Good
Pharaoh?
good to see you. Thank you for
Always
covering
good to be
today,
here.
sir. We love you so much. And to the right is the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Farrow. Jimmy, how are you?
Hello out there in TV land, back again.
So we just got back from the big event. It was a great day for pro wrestling, at least for me.
Yeah, it was really wild. You was like smiling all day. You okay?
Yeah, it was pretty good, pretty good.
All right.
And then I'm driving back, and all of a sudden, in my car, suddenly appear none other than UWF superstar Mr. Sonny Beach.
Suddenly appeared. Right.
Mr. USA Tony Atlas.
I was trying to take the hubcaps.
And one half of the Orient Express, Mr. Pat Tanaka. How are you, Pat?
Hi, man. It's an honor to be
He knows
here.
karate. Right.
You know
yes.
karate.
If anyone could have been in the car ride here, I gotta know. What is the deal with that, Pat? How come every Chinese guy knows karate?
You know, I was thinking that to myself on the way here, and I think it was Tony that was saying something about being stereotyped.
Yes.
Right?
I think so.
You?
Never.
We can't talk about why you were talking about a stereotype about,
So
you
you're
know.
going to blame the
Why
black
not?
guy.
You know, yeah, exactly.
Why does everybody blame the black man for?
Because we're always into shit.
What does that mean?
Well, no, we always into something. We would let up. I was always into shit. My
So
mother would look at me and say, boy, what you up to? Every time she see me, boy, what you up to? Because, you know, we was always into something.
So if it wasn't hubcaps, it would be something else?
Well, yeah.
What on earth?
We still hubcaps,
Right.
chickens.
You didn't take him back to hometown, did you, Sonny?
Hometown.
You didn't show him the hometown, did you?
Yeah, we took him to Northport and we showed him a good
Was
time.
he doing
Went to the gym?
Was he taking notes for
the
future
House of
reference?
Hardcore? the beach.
Sonny
is terrible.
Sonny was posting pictures, man. You
Nice.
guys were having sushi last night. The
Nice
manager
sushi
was
over at
loving
Miko.
it. How
Jason
good?
Irish, big shout out to Jason Irish and
Wait a
Miko.
minute, see, now you guys stereotype, but you didn't invite me to go have sushi.
You were
man.
in
What
town,
the-
we
Well,
didn't
you
take
already
you
know.
with us.
You already know why.
You would eat sushi with us.
Are you kidding me?
You like sushi?
Oh, I know you're in South Dakota now.
Saying eat me. Come on, man.
Dude, could you imagine eating sushi off Pat Tanaka's stomach?
Yeah, come on. There's nothing
sushi.
fucking sexier than that.
Oh, look out! So anyway, Miko, man, great place, right?
Miko was a great
Tony,
place.
what's your review on Miko?
I love it.
Yeah?
It was fantastic. I got my octopus and everything. And then
crispy duck.
Right. And then Sonny took me to show him his gym and everything. And he took me into his place. And I felt real good because that was the first time that I've been into a white person's house, but they were staying at home.
There you go.
Tony always talk him into
I feel like we're still in the car. We're still in the car. We're still in the car. Oi.
Northport's a tough place.
It is. Oh yeah, it's a scary town, Northport. You might trip over a crack on the sidewalk.
Well, you know, I'm
Not me. I would have picked it up.
where
Oh my God. Nothing better than some drug humor.
Yeah.
Listen, I want to lose focus on this show a little bit. This was a tribute to Rocky Johnson, who unfortunately passed recently, and I'd ask you guys to weigh in and maybe tell the fans out there your experiences with Rocky Johnson and your memories with Rocky Johnson. Whoever wants to start, by all means, have it.
Well, the first time I met Rocky Johnson was in Florida. He was working in Florida by Eddie Graham at the time, and Bob Root was the booker. And I was supposed to just go around upstairs learning the business and everything. And I remember when I walked in the dressing room, I was getting dressed, and one of the wrestlers come in and said, just wait till Rocky see him. Because Rocky was already the man with the belt. So Eddie Graham told Rocky and Maniac Mark Lewin.
Yeah.
Maniac Mark Lewin. He said, they're going to take you back to Tampa with them, and you're going to ride with them all week. So I said, okay. So they take me to the hotel and everything, where I was staying, the boys stay at. That's the first time, the next morning, they take me, we went to the next show, and Mark Lewin was a heel. So back then, heels and babyface couldn't ride together. So they tell me to wait till they go to the car, and Rocky said, we're going to go around and pick you up. We don't want the fan to see you getting in the car because you're a babyface. So I said, okay. So I'm sitting in the parking lot. I'm looking, there's a van, and this van is going back and forth, back and forth. It was the only van in the whole parking lot. There's no cars in the parking lot, but there's one van. All of a sudden, this guy get out, and this girl get out. They kiss. The girl get in the car. She drive off. The guy looked at me. His name was Quick Draw Rick McGraw. And I said, Rick said, why are you still here? You got some, you got some ret waiting on you or something? I said, no, Rocky's supposed to pick me up. He said, man, them guys gone. And they left me. That was the first time I met Rocky. The second time I met Rocky, they wanted me to pick him up at the airport and all this stuff while working in Georgia.
So wait a minute, that was just a rib, though, right? They wanted to teach you a lesson. I mean, what was that all about?
I could not tell you. I did what he did. I don't want to tell you what I experienced. I don't know if they were ribbon, but they left me. I mean, I was a new kid in the business, and they left me. I went to the next town. I got to give Rocky credit for this because I was so pissed off about it. I said, all you guys want to do is just fuck me around. I said, I'm quitting the business. Rocky said, no, kid. Don't quit the business. He did stop me from quitting the business because I would have quit right then and there. Right. I was so pissed off. The second time I met Rocky, he was coming in out of Georgia because they had Georgia Championship Wrestling, and when the first time that wrestling was on cable television, it went into 48 different states. The only states it didn't go into was Hawaii and Alaska. But people saw Georgia Championship Wrestling all over the world. The guys came from all over to be on Georgia Wrestling because it went everywhere. So we became pretty good buddies. We hung out a lot. Then I met him. I was with the WWF there. I got pissed off for some stupid reason, and I left. When I came back, Rocket was there. At first, it was me and SD Jones, Special Delivery Jones. And when I left, they brought Rocket Johnson in to replace me. So I was living in Los Angeles at the time. So I took it and asked Vince Sr., said, I want to team you guys up together. He said, do you need some time off to go to LA to get your car? Rocky stepped up and said, no, don't worry about it, Vince. I got 2 cars. He could use one of mine, but now that the fact that we are tag team partners, he could ride with me. That's my first night back after fucking up.
Yeah.
So he take me to the hotel. And he said, we got to go to Hartford, Connecticut. We stayed in New Haven. The show was in Hartford, which was like 30 or 40 miles away. So I'm sitting there waiting on Rocket. And the lady asked me at the front desk, said, who you waiting on? I said, I'm waiting on Rocket Johnson. Oh, yeah, I love him. Is he coming here? You think he was saying to pay for me? I said, oh, yeah, I'm sure he will. So I'm sitting there. Back then the show starts at 8 o'clock. 7 o'clock, you got to be at the show. So when 7:30 rolled around, no Rocket. So I called a cab, took a cab all the way to Hartford, Connecticut. Rocket in the dressing room telling jokes to the guys. I said, Rocket, what happened? Well, I came there, you wasn't there. I looked all over the place for you. That was the second time he left me. Finally, we got so much heat between us, we got in a big fight in the dressing room. That's when Vince Jr. took the belt off of us. That's when Vince took the belt off of us. But he always screwed me. There were only two guys in this business that ever done me like that. Rocky Johnson and Tagger Conway Jr. Tagger Conway Jr., I was flying in and out of Houston for Paul Bosch. Yep. And the people in Beaumont wanted to see me because I never went nowhere but Houston. But Beaumont was like 80 miles away. So this guy, I was sitting there waiting on Tagger Conway to come and pick me up from the hotel. And a guy called, just by luck, his name was Gary Young, the bowlegger right there, Gary Young. He called to leave message because he knew I like country music and I like going out to honky tonk bars. And he said, I got my buddy going to fix you up some brisket, brisket, some good Texas brisket. And he said he's going to have a special thing for you, Tony, when you get back from Beaumont before you go back to Atlanta. So he said, what the hell you still doing at the hotel? Ain't you supposed to be in Beaumont tonight? I said, yeah, I'm waiting on Tagger. He said, Tony, if they're not there by now, they ain't coming to get you. He said, I'll be right there. Gary Young, on his day off, put me in his car, drove me to Beaumont. When I got there, Rocky and his father, Tagger Conway Jr. and his father, Tagger Sr., was on their way to the ring. Lucky for me, I got there just before that match went on. So when Sr. saw me, he automatically went back in the dressing room. And Paul Bosch, I told Paul, so he left me. He said, it's not Tagger's responsibility to get you here, Tony. It's your responsibility. He said, the moment you didn't show up, you should have went to the freaking airport and got a rent-a-car and drove here yourself. Don't depend on another guy for your ride. He said, now just drop your bag and go into the ring just the way you are. So, unbelievable, the people went freaking ape shit because I'm walking to the ring stripping. I walked to the ring stripping, and the people thought that was part of the freaking show. They didn't know I was fucking late, and they thought it was fucking great. We had our match and everything. I got back in the dressing room. I punched Tagger right in the fucking face. I tried to knock that son of a bitch in the middle of a fucking next week. His father, everybody jumped in to pull us off. But Paul Bosch, God bless him, he never used me again. But then when he sold his territory to Vince, one of his stipulations, he said, I have to have Tony Atlas on the card. He said he was my biggest draw. Yeah. He said he made me so much money. He said I have to have Tony. That was the stipulation that he gave to Vince. So that's why if you look back when Vince had that thing, I came back to do that one show for Paul Bosch. But Rocky and me and him later on, we became the best of friends. A couple of years ago, me and my wife were doing real bad, and I was a little bit short on the money. My wife and his wife were talking, and then his wife tell my wife to go to the Walmart. There's something there for me. And the money I owe, Rocky gave it to me. Wow. So he wasn't like a bad guy. Rocky sold Bill Watts a dead horse. He found some papers that were this racehorse, but the horse was dead. so he told Bill Watts, he said, I don't know what to do. I'm going to another territory. I don't want to take this with me. He said, I don't know what to do with my horse. It's a great horse. It runs a lot of races. Bill said, what's the name of the horse? So he showed him the paper and everything, all the stuff about the horse. Bill said, oh yeah, that's a great racehorse. He would use it for what we call stud purpose. Yeah. He go to check on the horse. The guy said, oh yeah, that was a great horse. It was a shame he died. Rocky was gone. He sold S.D. Jones. See, Rick Montel never lived in America. He always lived in Canada. He just came here to work. The only days off, he'd go back home to Canada. So one time, S.D. Jones just started. This came from Antigua. He and Johnny Ross trained him, and he needed a car. So he made a good paycheck. Rocky said, hey, S.D., instead of ride with the boys and everything, I got a car that I can sell you at a good price. So S.D. bought the car. S.D. went to try to get the car registered. He couldn't get the car registered because the car do not belong to Rocky. It belonged to Rick Montel. So he went back. When Rick Montel came back from Canada, Rick wanted his car back. So now SD said, look, Rick, SD said, look, Rock, says the car don't belong to you. You got my money. He said, why didn't you give my money back so I can go buy my car? And Rocky said, where's the lesson paid for? Because SD car kept breaking down. SD, but at the time, it's funny, but at the time, SD was so poor, him and his wife, his pregnant wife, used to sleep in their car. He couldn't afford to get an apartment yet.
Wow.
And the first check he got, Rocky took it. And he said, well, you just learn a valuable lesson, kid. But Rocky was known to do stuff. He got me fired before I even got hired. In 1997, I believe it was, they brought me back to do something with The Rock. I made 4 appearances on Monday Night Raw.
Right.
Monday Night Raw. And Rock was wrestling Rocking My Veers then. And the woman that had The Rock to jump in the ring with his father and everything. Yeah. Well, what Rocky did, we were sitting in the dressing room, me, Hillbilly Jim, and Rocky, and a bunch of other wrestlers, and they got to talking about stuff, him and Steve Labonte. And Rocky said, the only reason you still here, Steve, is because you sucking Vince McMahon's dick. Then the next day, Labonte come up there and said, Tony, this is the first time you getting fired without doing anything. I said, what the fuck I had to do with it? I didn't say it.
Guilty by association.
The angle was with me, Rocket, and Alpha told me what the angle was. They didn't want me to go out and say, I carried The Rock. The Rock was this. I mean, I carried Rocket. Rocket was nobody.
Which would have been a pretty good program, by the way.
Yeah, that's what he wanted to do. And then he wanted me, because I was still in pretty good shape that time, to work with Dwayne and put Dwayne over. But then they called me and said, we decided on going on a different path. But good or bad, me and Rocket, we had our ups, we had our downs. But at the end of the day, the last thing that Rocket said to me, I said, Rocket, get well, man. I said, because, we want to see you. And Rocket said, I will, man. And he said, I love you, brother. I said, I love you too, brother. So we left this earth on a good note. Then one day I did sit there and talk to Rocket. I said, Rocket, why you trying to fuck me? He said, it wasn't against you, Tony. He said, you're young, you built, you're talented, you ain't too smart, but he said the way the territory was, there was only room for one black on top. They had a pecking order. And it wasn't just Rocket, so all the older blacks knew that if another black guy come in, the only person that could replace Rocket Johnson was another black guy. So that's why all my friends in wrestling was white. I didn't have any black friends. The only black friend I had was Ernie Ladd, S.D. Jones, and Rufus R. Jones. But when I was with Rufus was a top man, I was a bottom man, see? And then when I was with SD, I was a top man, SD was a bottom man. With Ernie Ladd, he was a booker. He was like a mentor, he didn't care what position we did. Ernie was just Ernie Ladd was one of the greatest people anybody ever met. You can't find nobody saying anything bad about Ernie the Cat Ladd. But with me and Rocket, we were 2 top guys. So Vince was not going to keep, and it wasn't like it just with black. Mr. Fuji blocked every Oriental in the world. If you was Oriental Fuji, he did it to Tora Tanaka, he did it to Saito. That's why the only Oriental wrestler that anybody know in the WWF is Mr. Fuji.
There he goes again.
Yeah, there he goes.
But there was only room for one minority on top. Chief J. Strongbow did the same thing with every Indian. That's why you never saw Wahoo McDaniel, who I thought were the best
freaking Italian. What's he doing?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but that's how it was. But that was his gimmick.
Right.
So if Wahoo was a threat to him.
Right.
So all the ethnic guys was fighting against each other for the top position. And so I didn't know none of this stuff until after my career was all over. That's why I didn't really blame Rocky, because Rocky didn't do it as hatred. He didn't do it to me out of spite. He did it to me out of survival, because they was gonna fire Rocky when I came back. And Peter, my wife, talked to Vince Sr. and said he got a kid, he got a family. Don't fire Rocky. He got nowhere to go. He said, let him stay. So Vince came to me and said, what do you think of you and Rocky tag team? He said, if you want him to go, Tony, I would get rid of him tonight. Vince Sr. told me that. And I said, no, I think it'd be good. I think it'd be a great thing.
And then history was made. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and right after that, we're going to return with one half of the AWA Tag Team Champion, Mr. Pat Tanaka, and me with the Rocky Johnson story. All right, welcome back. We want to reach out and thank Aqua Cherry, who does the theme song for Monty and the Pharaoh, Straight to the Top. Aqua Cherry.
Yes, sir.
Aqua Cherry's music could be bought on Reverb Nation or Where Music's Sold, and big up-and-coming band, which we love. Pat Tanaka, welcome aboard, sir.
How you doing, guys?
All right, man. What's going on?
Good. Oh, I'm just hanging out. You know, listening to all these stereotype things here. Oh,
jeez. Were you on Fuji's list?
I was, unbelievably.
I
wonder why. It wasn't because I ate sushi. It was great being with Rocky because I work with him in Tennessee. Jarrett's motion, and it's when I turned heel on Jeff Jarrett. We branched out, and I started working with Rocky. And I tell you what, man, God, working with him was just a dream, man. I mean, because if you think about it, here I am, about 160 pounds, about 5'8". Rocky, sitting there 6'3", just, incredibly huge, And I tell you what, man, he had no problem selling for me, putting me over. This guy, man, he would just do anything, and it was great. I mean, think about it. I mean, guys, it'd be like Tony, me and Tony working. It just looks so awkward, So when that.
Well, because I'm black?
Yeah, that's pretty much why I'm saying that. And especially Rocky was black, Was he? No, he was not. No.
And there we were watching the show.
He was Samoan.
Yeah, that's right. He was Samoan. Yeah, I knew there was something different. It was just the big tan that he had from Hawaii. The stories.
What a day.
With Rocky.
What a lovely day.
And these guys, being stereotype guys. Me, I just look at him as, hey, man, we had a great match. We had a good time, But no, honestly, he was one of the greatest guys ever.
He was a good guy.
I mean, really was. Yep. And I'm sure everybody's done, stupid things in this business, especially to stay alive. And,
oh, yeah. Survivor was the key, yeah.
Everybody has, And for myself with Rocky, we've had nothing but good times. And I remember, I can't remember what year was it. He invited me down, or it wasn't him that invited me down. It was somebody invited us to Rock's birthday at the Madison Square Garden. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my God! How many years ago was that? That was so long ago.
Did Foley do a bit on that? By the way, I remember Foley doing something with The Rock. I wonder if he did it on Mick Foley. He might have been busting on The Rock's birthday as part of a skit. He had done stuff like that.
I can't remember. Everybody was there, but it was just a party.
Oh,
there was no matches, nothing like that. It was just a big party.
Gotcha.
And what happened was we were kind of like crazy at that time. It was me and Janetti and me crazy is like me just having a beer or something, But I think he got a little bit deeper after that, And what happened was at the end of the night, Rocky goes, Pat, man, he goes, I got to talk to you. I said, what's up? He goes, yours and Marty's bill. We got to take care of it. I said, yeah, no problem, man, And he goes, Pat, $35,000. What? And I looked at him and go,
what was her name?
Huh? What was her name? And that's what I was trying to figure out. What was her name?
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
It was, and it was not her. It was him. It was Jose.
Was him?
I was wondering when you were going to start talking about the railroad.
Yeah. It was Mr. Corvo, and it was and Jack,
Right.
So
Sure.
We had all
wait a minute, $35,000.
$35,000. No, and it was
tequila?
not exaggeration. It was nothing like that.
Down the middle, or more Marty, or more you? I want to know specifics.
I'm just gonna bury him.
I've been out with both of them. Let me
ask you this. Let me ask you this, Sonny. Could you hang with them though?
No, not on my
So it's like I'm checking out.
Oh my God!
All jacked up you in the early
six-pack kind of guy. After that, I'm done.
You're done.
Oh, interesting.
I'm calling it.
Well, to tell you the truth, I
These
don't
guys
even
from
know if
A
I
to Z,
could
baby.
hang. I don't even know if I could hang with them.
He drunk that hard liquor too.
Yeah.
Beer hard liquor.
I'm telling you, man. Well, the thing is that I think our bill wouldn't have been that big if like me or Marty, I think it was. I can't remember which one it was.
From Jose Cuervo.
Screaming out, everybody gets around, on us.
Oh, okay.
Here we go.
So I think, buying 1,000 people every 20 minutes a drink, it's going to cost you a lot of money, And that was the thing. I mean,
he was a worker.
We thought we'd get a discount.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, you thought you'd get it free?
And we did get a discount, but
What was it, 50? You got it for 35? What are we talking? You
yeah, no, they gave us a 15% discount.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So but I remember Rocky's face when he was just going, Pat, really, man?
What are you doing?
What happened? I don't remember. I've been drinking all night. And he goes, I think so, And Marty's hiding under the table. I don't remember why, to tell you the truth. And then, he came out and I started hiding.
Oh, there you go.
It was both of us.
So who settles a $35,000 bill?
Well, what happened was we all had to chip in and pay it, and it was kind of like, oh my God, man, this is awful. And it was funny because I just talked to Rocky, when was it, right at Christmas time, before Christmas. And he goes, Merry Christmas, Pat, everything. He goes, still haven't paid me back that $15,000 I shipped this.
Yes. Yeah, now you talk about the real guy.
And I go, well, Rock, I think it went all up our noses.
Yes. I got one more Rocky story. I hope I can tell this one.
You can tell whatever
this
you
one
like.
probably going to piss off Dwayne. He was there, though.
Okay.
All right.
We were in Allentown, Pennsylvania. They do TV. I don't know if y'all was around there. They do TV in Allentown. And then on the next day, we do TV in Hamburg, Pennsylvania. It's 25 miles apart. So Vince Sr. was getting pissed off about all the boys getting drunk, partying with the girl, and were late for the sucker TV taping. We had to be there at 12 o'clock. But it's only a 30-minute drive. So I ride with Rocket, and I get up in the morning. I go to the gym with Sika. Me and Sika go to the gym together. We worked out. We come back, we had breakfast, and everything. I'm sitting there talking to Alpha and Sika, and I said, well, let me go get my bag because I got to meet Rocket. So Rocket said he's going to leave at 11 o'clock. So 11 o'clock, I was standing in front of his room. His wife comes out to talk to me. Not the one now, but Ella, and then that's her name, the Samoan woman.
Was it Ida? I think Leah.
Yeah, Leah. And she said, oh, I have to get Rocket some food. And so I said, oh, I'll walk with you. So I'm sorry to leave, and I see Rocket. This is Rocket room, but they had these jointed rooms. When you go through the indoor jointed room. What happened, Rocket, when his wife left out, Rocket had his girlfriend in another room. So
God.
Yeah, he would go in the other room. He would go to the other room and be with his girlfriend. He kept saying to his wife to do stuff, so he'd go be with his girlfriend. I didn't know this. Because me and SD shared a room together. And so as I was walking away, somebody told me to look back, and Rocky was in the other room, in his girlfriend room, saying, signaling to me. I said, what the fuck is he doing? Signaling to me. In other words, he said, get her out of here.
Right, yeah.
What happened? Dwayne got up.
back.
Wait, Dwayne, he was a kid, then he got up, he shut the door. Now Rocky can't get back in. He had to come outside to go into the room.
Oh, man.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's thinking Rocky is up at the restaurant.
Right.
So she get ready to go to the restaurant to get Rocky. Said, Rocky went to get the food, let me go up here and get him so we can go. She's going to walk me back to the restaurant. Rocky is not at the restaurant. He's in the other room with his girlfriend. So finally, back up a little bit, Vince made it, because guys were late for the show, he said, anybody that's late for the show, he's going to charge them $500. So I didn't want to be late. That's why I was at his room at 11, because he said he's going to leave at 11. So anyway, I go back. I walk up to the room. When we got halfway to the restaurant, Rocky said, where are you guys? He come out the room. Where are you guys? I've been waiting on you all day. Where the fuck you been? Come on, we got to go. So we get in the car. We drive like hell to get to Hamburg. And this girl is following us the whole time. It's following us. I look back and who the fuck is this girl? So we get out. We walk there. Vince Sr., is standing there at the door, pissed off. Well, you could tell when the man had these handful of silver dollars, and he do them like this. Silver dollars, he going just like this. I can tell he's
Like a
pissed.
stick of
Robert
cards.
said, "Don't worry about it, brother. I'll take care of it. I would explain to Vince so you don't get in trouble." I said, "Okay, thank you, Rob." So I go in, not know nobody, get dressed and everything, went and did my match and everything. On the way back, Vince Senior called me and said, "Tony," he said, "I'm going to have to fine you $500. I'm not going to fine Rocket because it's not his fault. It's your fault. The next time you want to go to the gym, go earlier."
Oh my God.
That was Vince. You know what he did?
Oh, I know what it did.
He went and told Vince that he was late because he had to wait for me to come from the gym.
Oh,
And I
God.
said, "Vince, that ain't what happened." "Never mind, Tony. It already been done. Don't be late no more," and walk away.
Wow.
That's what he did.
We're gonna take a commercial break. Then we're gonna hear from former UWF champion, Mr. Sonny Beach.
I had to tell that.
Mr. Sonny Beach.
Mr.
So
Monty.
first, congratulations on the new episodes of Dark Side of the Ring. You want to tell a few people what's coming up with you involved?
Yeah, they're doing a special on Herb Abrams for the UWF promotion, and it's going to be airing sometime this season. I know we shot it back in November here on Long Island, our parts to it. Brian Blair, Mick Foley, a lot of the UWF people, Lenny Dude, one of the executive producers from the beginning of UWF, he's on there. Tells a story about Herb Abrams, how he lived, how he died. A lot of inaccuracies about Herb were corrected, hopefully, on the taping. Some stuff that people didn't know. He did have a good side about him, but he also had his demons. So they're going to show the whole, from A to Z with Herb Abrams' story. So I think they did a really good job. The producers on Viceland TV about Herb Abrams and about a few of the other things that they cover. And I know they did a Chris Benoit story, Road Warrior story, Jimmy Snuka.
I think Dr. D. David Schultz.
David Schultz.
Brawl to settle it all. The war.
Sounds like
I think
all
they did one about
stereotyping.
Owen Hart.
Yes.
So they did a lot of good segments. I think season 2 is going to be even bigger than season 1. I know Tony was with the Bruiser Brody story with Dark Side of the Ring, the first season, which was one of the best. I thought it was very in depth and very educational. And I think it was true. I mean, to have a person that was there in the dressing room when Bruiser Brody was murdered, I know it's hard for Tony to talk about even till today. But most of the stuff that we covered with UWF and Tony covered with the Bruiser Brody story, this is what the real life, everyday, besides wrestling, this was the life of the wrestlers and the promoters and day to day, the ins and outs of the professional wrestling business.
Well, I think that UWF story is not a lot of people know the story, right? Because the organization really didn't get off the ground that it could have. I recommend it because I loved the UWF when it started, and that's going to be a hell of a story.
I mean, if he had more funding, I think Herb Abrams could have done a lot more than what he did. But I think what he had to work with, he did a pretty good job at. For the short time he was here with us and in the wrestling industry. But I think the story's going to set a lot of the records straight. And I think with the guys that lived it, Brian Blair, Jim Brunzell, the Killer Bees, Paul Orndorff, Cactus Jack Mick Foley. Dr. Death, Bam Bam Bigelow were, feuding, head to head, and Dr. Death, I think, was the first UWF champion, and about some of the shooting with Steve Ray and Dr. Death, it tells a lot of, there's a lot of good stories to tell about it.
I look forward to it. So, Rocky Johnson, what do you got for me, brother?
Rocky Johnson, I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, so I used to watch Rocky when I was a kid growing up. I mean, Rocky was a few years older than me. And, just talent, people like Tony. Pat was down there in Tampa, when I broke in. Pat used to referee, as a kid. And,
Yeah, we heard.
And Pat's got, great stories. And,
we got to get to that.
I never got to wrestle against Rocky or anything like that, but I got to watch him a lot. And Jacksonville, Florida, and growing up, and then when with Vince and stuff, and we were on a couple of the same cards, later in his career, and I did a couple independent shows that he was on, and just a great talent. I liked his work ethic. He would work out hard in the gym. You can tell by looking at him and Tony. They put a lot of time and hours in the gym. People don't know Rocky was a great boxer too. He should have been a pro boxer.
Yeah.
And not too many people know that.
Yeah.
So
he sparred with Larry Holmes and all them guys.
I mean, he could have been definitely a top-ranked pro boxer, heavyweight boxer. So
what I am curious about, we all know his son's charisma. We've all seen his flamboyancy, and he's a TV magnet anytime he's on.
Right.
Was Rocky Johnson, and did he have some of that? Was that an untapped source? Because we never got to see Rocky, really like do skits or do promos like an extent, like the way we see The Rock. Did he have some of that in him, or we'll just never know? Or
if you take a match and Sonny tell you the same thing, this man can too, and you look at Dwayne Johnson wrestle in the ring, you see Rocky.
That's true.
He walks like his dad. He wrestles like his dad. He's a splitting image of his dad.
But how about the talking? Do you think that if Rocky Johnson had been given a mic,
would
he have done?
He had the gift of gab.
I'm very interested to know.
He had the gift of gab too. But you got to realize back then, a lot of even today, it's worse today than what it ever been. You had some say so to what you would say, but they never put Rocky in a position where Rocky could do all the
shine. Okay,
really
not
shine.
that way. All
Rocky, one of the biggest problems was, and I have said this many times, and I respect Rocky for this. And we were talking about it in the car. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of nigger calling, name calling, laboring to blacks from other whites. To make money, you had to go along with it. Like the first time it happened to me. George Scott, I told George, I said, George, I don't like every time I go in, they come to me with one of them nigger jokes. And George Scott said, you don't like that, huh? I said, no. I said, I'm going to start punching motherfuckers out in here. And George said, oh, no, you don't want to do that. He said, get heat with the boys. You don't want any problem with the boys. The same people you meet on your way up, you meet them same people all the way down. He said, but I can tell you a little trick. He said, this is what you do. He said, when they tell you a joke, I want you to tell them this joke. So he told me a black joke. I said, why would I join them? He said, just do what I say, Tony. So I did. I took it. They told me a black joke. I told them a black joke. They told me another black joke. I told them another black joke. Then they found out it didn't bother me. So once they found out it didn't bother me, I would come to the bars and I would tell them a black joke. Tony, we don't want to hear that shit. We don't want to hear. So they just left me alone with it. But Rocky, first of all, is Canadian. He's not American. Right. He's from Canada. It got to him. He didn't like it. Rocky wanted to be respected as the same. He wanted the same respect that another guy they have a problem with was Thunderbolt Patterson. Ernie Ladd took it. You were with Bill Watt. I mean, Ernie Ladd.
But do you think that is why Rocky treated people like he treated you because he's anger and not being respected?
I don't know. I wouldn't say it was anger. I think it was Rocky was constantly fighting for the same respect as the white wrestler was getting from each other. Mm-hmm. And Thunderbolt Patterson was in that same category. I mean, Bobo, you could call him a nigger, walk away. You could call Rufus R. Jones, you could call Tony Atlas, you could call any, but not Rocky. Rocky and Thunderbolt couldn't handle that. They couldn't have that racial talk. But that was just the boys during that time, especially during the 70s, what I'm talking about. Where it was a lot of it in the 70s, not so much when Sonny came, but I started, in the 70s, where about 60% of the wrestlers had KKK cars in their pocket. So I asked George Two-Ton Harris, who was a Klansman, I said, why do y'all dislike black people so much? And this is what he told me, I never forgot this. He said, to get me all the speeding tickets. In North Carolina, because having the police department in North Carolina during that time were Klansmen.
Right.
See, we keep forgetting. Me and Rocky, we were the first black champions in wrestling, and it happened in the 80s. It didn't happen in the 60s. Mm-hmm. It happened in the 80s. And then if you look back on it, Vince brought me back, but he never brought Rocky back. When me and Rocky lost that belt, that was the end of Rocky's career. He was at the height of his career, and they never picked him up. When WCW started, Thunderbolt Patterson never got booked again. Because these two were two guys. Rocky had another problem too. was not racist. Rocky was not racist. So Rocky figured if he liked a woman, he didn't care if she was blue, white, green. He liked the woman. But Rocky figured he could just date any woman he wants. What he didn't know, the worst thing that Rocky could be around during that time was a white woman. He knew it, but he was like the old Jack Johnson, the first black world champion.
Okay.
I mean, in 1910, Jack Johnson was dating white women, you know. But there was a lot of people in the business at that time that didn't go for that. When I first started in the business, George Scott told me, said, Tony, these are the rules. Keep your mouth shut, do as you're told, and stay away from white women.
Those are the rules.
And I asked him why. He said, well, the blacks is not going to like it because they think you're too good for to be with your own kind. And he said the white just don't like it. He said, just remember that if you want to keep fans,
I just don't like it.
Yeah, you have to you got to give the people what they want. The fans didn't like it. And that was just the way the world was. See, we're a 400-year country. The country is 400 years. Me talking to Sonny, talking to you is only 50 years old. So we just now, as Americans, living together, and people are still not used to, even today. True. People are still not used to.
My question's a Pat. Growing up in wrestling, did you face the same kind of trials that Rocky Johnson or Tony Atlas? Are you a family?
I wasn't stereotyping. I'm joking. No, seriously. No, honestly, man.
The Asian kid knows karate.
Yeah. Karate, so I didn't fucking worry about it, right? No, honestly, for me, when I was in this business, I was a kid, man. I didn't care. I didn't know.
And how old were you when you started? Please?
Shoot, I was young, man. I think I started refereeing when I was 13, 14.
Yeah.
And then, so, I mean, really, race was not there for me. It was age then. You know, you got all these big stars that are older and everything. They're telling me this, they're telling me that. So I pretty much, because when you're that young, you're idolizing whoever is on top. And you're idolizing the guys on bottom. Because they're teaching you all the way up. You're stepping up everything you learn. You know, you're learning from think about it, icons and people that are important to you, right? So you're listening to them. You're learning everything. Now me, I was listening to a lot of wrong people too. You know, I mean,
drink this.
Yeah, exactly. Try this. You know,
Marty Jannetty.
Yeah, now Marty was growing up with me. Now,
been around for a month.
Yeah, and that was the thing. You know, I mean, now honestly, you know, the guy that I started riding with when I started refereeing was Jake. Jake the Snake.
Oh boy.
You know?
That's your first
and
then
then
prayers and
Ric
take
Flair.
vitamins, huh?
It was me, Jake, Ric Flair, Roddy Piper. I mean, Magnum TA, Dusty Rhodes. I mean, I got to ride with all these guys. Well, I wasn't riding. I was driving.
Barry Windham, all those guys.
Oh, you were the driver?
I was the driver.
There you go.
You know, and
so you had to stay straight sometimes, no? Nah.
we used to have a shirt. Now in Florida, do you remember this, Tony? There was a shirt. Remember this? There was a shirt called Leader of the Pack. Whoever drank the most beer on the way back from the town or to the town wins the shirt. So it used to be either Magnum TA, okay? It was either Magnum TA, Barry Windham, or who was the one? Piper, right? They would drink like 52, 53 beers on the way back, you know?
53 beers.
You'd have to have a cooler full of beer.
You
Right.
ride
50
back.
And
3 beers.
What are you talking about?
You know, and
That
then,
was, a lot of guys did that.
oh my God, I mean, that
I mean,
was
the
like,
average guy
after
was
every
a
show,
six-pack every
every
night
show.
and a baloney blowout.
oh,
Guys, we're just gonna take a quick commercial break and then we come right back.
remember Lester?
Started drinking.
Well, Look, the fans don't know, but we took about, I don't know, 40-minute drive together. I heard stories that blew me away. So I'm going to ask a few things that triggered me, and please, if you don't want to talk about them, don't talk about them. But if you want to talk about them, please do.
Hey, this is the Monty and the Pharaoh show. Anything goes.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
All right, so Sonny, I was hoping you'd tell the fans out there that Sheik story. I'm going round robin, so it's going to go this way or
He's like me, my
We were on an overseas tour one time, and we were in Santo Domingo, and we were coming back, international. We went through Miami at International Airport in Miami. And down there, you go through customs when you come back. And Sheik's, been known to party a time or two. And he likes his gimmick, and he's done everything from A to Z. So he had some gimmick with him when he was coming back through customs. So the little customs dog, they got the drug-sniffing dogs and everything there. We're coming through international customs. All of a sudden, the dog goes crazy on Sheik, runs up to Sheik, does a beeline right towards Sheik. The dog starts going, and he sits down right at Sheik's feet. Sheiky, nice doggy, nice doggy, nice doggy. The doggy knows Sheiky here, Sheiky. And the customs agent's looking at Sheik, and the customs, thank God he was a wrestling fan. He goes, oh, Iron Sheik, can I have your autograph? Hey, how you doing? She said, oh, it's okay, Bubba, how are you? He goes, you have a nice little doggy here. Nice little doggy. So the Sheik gives him an autograph, and the guy looks at him, and the dog's going crazy on Sheik, and she goes, okay, I have to go to get my bag. Goodbye. And the guy's just looking at him, shaking his head, and he knew the dog was going crazy, and doing what he's trained to do, and he let Sheik go. It was like unbelievable. And I'm like watching Sheik's getting busted. Big international, drug incident at Miami airport. We're all going to be in the paper and the news and everything. And Sheik talked his way out of it, just petting the dog. Nice doggy. He walked off. And
Sheik,
unbelievable.
Sheik seemed to get out of a lot of stuff.
And then he goes, Sonny Beachy. Does his gimmick.
Sonny
with the abs. He goes, I can't believe it. The doggy dumped the Sheik. The dog dumped the Sheik.
I mean, Sheik was the scariest guy in the world to be with. He really was. Like, we were going to Canada. We were driving through Winnipeg. So anyway, it was me, Duggan, and I think it was Paul. I'm not sure who was with us, but anyway, we get stopped at the border. We didn't get stopped. I mean, we pull up to the thing, and then she's driving, and we were sleeping.
Sheep driving.
Yeah.
He's laughing at Sheik driving.
That's your first
mistake. Yeah, because I mean, think about it. We were tired.
That was you and Duggan put Sheik behind the wheel.
Well, we fell asleep, and
what was on the agenda that night?
Exactly. Well, I mean,
hold on, wait. I got a quick question for that. Because according to Duggan, from what I remember, the only one time he drove with the Sheik was the time they got caught on the New Jersey Turnpike.
Well, no. Hey, wait a minute. This is even better.
Okay.
Now listen. I mean, we're sleeping. So he goes ahead and he pulls right up to the fucking thing, and we're sitting in the back, and I'm waking up. I'm going, we're supposed to stop like three or 4 miles back to put away everything like this. And he goes, don't worry, guys, we'll be okay like that. He's talking right in front of the guy, and I'm going, oh, okay, great, and I look down, there's a beer, there's a joint in the ashtray, and I'm going, are we okay? So the guy's looking at the thing, and he's going, do you want to back up and get rid of that stuff? Like that? And
no one wants to bust the Iron Sheik.
She goes, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh my God. I go, I do. Go backwards.
Buddy.
Sheik does it again.
Yeah. So anyway, he goes, besides that can and that thing in the ashtray, do you have anything else in here? And he's going, I don't know what you're talking about, officer. Oh my God. And I'm going, Sheik, the trunk, man. We got to get out of here. Back up, man. He's going, shut up, Patrick. He goes, are you kidding me? I'm WWF World Champion. Get out of here. He
He let everybody know it.
Yeah, he did, man.
He did know it. You would know it after you told him.
So this is what he does. He goes, don't worry, officer. He pulls out this big old package of fucking pictures of himself.
Right.
Santa.
I autograph every one of them for you.
I've seen it 1,000 times.
Okay, I autograph every one for you.
They loved him.
So
yeah.
That guy hands it to him. He goes, you gotta pop your trunk. He goes, what? I'm going, oh God, please, we're going to prison for the rest of our lives now. So anyway, there's a case of beer right back there. He goes, guy goes, I gotta take that. He goes, no, you're not taking my beer. Like that, and we're all going, take it, man, take it.
It's a fucking case of beer.
Fucking hell, take it like that. And then he goes, there's an ounce of pot right below it.
Nice. I knew there was something underneath the beer.
And I'm going, we're going to prison for the rest of our lives. You know, we're all going. And then, that's not even, that's not even, I mean, because I knew what was under the pot.
Oh, here we go. It's getting worse.
You know, he's got blow in there, and we're all going.
So, like, there's levels, right?
What's under the
liquor,
right.
marijuana,
A to Z,
cocaine,
baby, A to Z.
and eventually, if you
A
dig
to
far
Z.
enough, heroin.
Right, you know, and so.
If you dig deep enough, you never know what you'll find.
It's like a treasure chest, right?
Honestly,
Turkish
man,
hashish.
Where's the angel dust in the glove?
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, we just said. I mean, I said.
Sorry.
I mean, I told him. I said, man. I said, you know what? I said, I'm not feeling good. I think I'm just going to stay here in the States. I'm going to call someone to pick me up. And they're going, no, man. We gotta go through this stuff. You know, I'm going. Gotta go through what? All your bags, everything. And I'm looking at you. We're all going. We're gonna kill you. Duggan's going. You've got to be fucking kidding me again. Because this is after.
This is after.
After.
Oh, shit.
And I remember this so clearly because he was so pissed off at Sheik already. Because, you know, Sheik thinks anything's okay. And you know, you got to love, God love him because he's so
Set in
naive.
his ways. He's set in his ways.
Well, he's really naive. He thinks it's
Very
okay
naive,
because he's the world champion.
Well, he thinks he's a god.
Right.
Yeah, he does.
And that's become so dangerous because I remember when we were in Canada, okay, I'm not going to mention any names. There was someone getting in the car and they were getting laid and everything, and she comes up to the window and goes, does this, you know, all this shit. And he goes, yeah. You know, he goes,
She could get a blow.
Sheiky, baby, get a little too? Like that. And the guy looks up and goes, Sheik, no, not right now. You know, he goes, oh, come on. You want to share with Sheiky, baby?
Oh, my God.
You know, so anyway, you know, the guy, no, man, get up. Yeah. So we all go up to the room. We're all hanging out, just party. And then they come up to the room. The girl and the guy come up to the room. And he goes, oh, now you want Sheiky, baby. You know, and the girl goes, I don't want anything to do with you. Like that.
God, Sheiky.
And he goes, I am WWF World Champion. What are you talking about? Like that, and she goes, I don't give a fuck who you are. You're not going to touch this. Like that, she picks up the phone handle and just wham right over the top of the head. Knocked her cold. And we all just went.
Then did Sheiky have her?
No. We all.
Yeah, that turned into rape then.
Yeah.
We're going to go to a quick commercial break and then come right back.
Austin.
All right, welcome back. Sticking on the subject of the Sheik, Tony, you. This is a wrestling mark-out question right now. Okay, so we all know Bob Backlund dropped the title to the Sheik. Did Backlund have a problem dropping the title to the Sheik?
No, he had a problem dropping the title to Hogan. See what it was. They sent a note to the office. They wanted a wrestler that was over 6 feet tall, over 300 pounds. Among some of the people was Gorilla Monsoon, John Studd, Andre the Giant, and Hulk Hogan. When it became day for the audition, the only person that showed up for the audition was Hogan. So Hogan got the part, which was probably the best thing for the movie. A lot of people say it would have been Andre should have been in the movie, but Andre was making plenty of money, was happy. Monsoon was the promoter of New Jersey, so he didn't need
Plus,
the
Senior
money.
didn't want you guys do a movie.
Well, they
too,
wanted
right?
a big guy to be in the movie. See, a lot of guys were making good money. They don't think about a lot of wrestlers. They would pass up a lot of other opportunities because they didn't need the money. So it's the same way today. You call a guy, you tell him I give you X number of dollars, he don't need the money. He said, no, I need this. You know, so otherwise they're not going to show. Some guys, you don't pay them $100,000, they're going to sit home. You call a lot of guys, I give you $1,000. Screw you, I'm not working for $1,000. You know, and they won't do it. Well, that it was always been that way. Well, certain guys, they wouldn't work for a certain amount of money. You know, Sonny could tell you this. But anyway, make a long story short, Hogan started selling out everything. The person that gave Hogan his break was Vern Gagne. Hogan never got a break in this business. I was going to wrestle Hogan one day in the garden when we did our Magic Concert. Vince Sr. come in and said, "Tony, what you want to do with the big dummy?" And Hogan sitting right there. You know, but yeah, but God, well, they wasn't doing nothing with him. He was in Georgia. Ole Anderson would use him in Georgia.
But I don't want to keep it on Hogan because you told a story which I had never heard.
No, this is the beginning. This is the beginning.
Good. Good. Thank you.
And so Hogan made a deal. He said, the first day I come there, I want to win a title. Backlund said no. Because Backlund was that old school, and you can't see a lot of these old time wrestlers. The champion back in the old days was the best you could have. And the thing about wrestling that is different then than what it is now is when you park your car in the 70s or in the 80s, you park with the fans. They had no separation between the fans and you. We had territory. We didn't fly everywhere. So we went to the same towns every week. So you was always among the fans. And they were scared to put the belt on somebody that couldn't really defend himself in real life, because you get your butt kicked in real life. Because back then, people, they kayfabe. If there was kayfabe, they didn't want the people to know that it was a show.
Backlund didn't think he was tough enough. That's basically what you're telling me.
Well, yeah, because he didn't have an amateur background.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah, he never wrestled or have a amateur. Now his brother, on the other hand, Hogan's brother, was the toughest guy in Florida. He was in Hell Angel. Everybody know about his brother. Right, you go to Tampa, you ask about Hogan's brother, people started wetting on himself. That's what I hear. I never met him.
Yeah.
I think he died, but he was. What I hear from people, he was the roughest SOB, and he was bigger than Hogan. Hogan was small compared to about his brother. He never talks about it. I never hear anything about it. I didn't even know he had a brother. So I went to Tampa. He didn't get back to my story. So they had to take the belt off of Backlund. So half of that match was half work and half shoot. Because
the towel
was they knew nothing about it.
So you're calling a screw job on it?
A screw job. The same.
Wow.
They did the same thing.
I never heard that either.
When they did the same thing to Wendy Richter. And they did the same thing with the Hardboard.
Bret Hart.
Yeah, with Bret. You remember when Bret Hart lost? What did Shawn Michaels do?
Sure.
Got out as quick as possible. He got the fuck out of there because the Harts, every one of them was what we call shooters.
They bust you up for real.
I mean, they was rough.
Well, especially against Shawn Michaels.
Yeah,
really? I could beat the shit out of Shawn Michaels.
Shawn took the fuck off.
Well, that's not true. Marty Jannetty beat me up.
So what to do? They had to put the belt. They had to put the belt on the Sheik, because the Sheik was the only person that Backlund respect. But even when I sat and watched the match, I don't think Backlund was going to give it up. But you would have to take the belt off. We had what started this was they was always scared of shooters getting the belt, because they always wondered how we gonna get it off.
Right. Yeah.
It started with Ed Strangler Lewis. They put the title on Ed Strangler Lewis, and every time they wanted him to drop them, he wasn't drawing money.
Right.
The money is the bottom line. He was not a good drawer, but he was the toughest SOB in the wrestling world, so they couldn't get the belt off of him. So then they was afraid to put the belt on anybody that they couldn't
lose
get over.
That's Carl Gotch.
We're not putting Rocky down. You notice when we won the title, I won. When we lost the title, I didn't just won. We didn't just lose the title. I wasn't even in the ring.
Right, you didn't even get in there
because I wasn't going to go for it.
But hold on, we're talking about Rocky Johnson. You win the tag team title. In my opinion, one of the greatest moments and most important moments in wrestling history. But you told me a story I never heard, that in '81, if I got the time right, Senior was going to make you the WWE champion. Can you tell that story, please?
Well, what happened was, what I was told by a couple of guys that were real close to the office, like Captain Lou Banner and Chief J. Strongbow, said they're going to go all the way with you if you don't mess up. They said they're going to put the belt on you and SD. The day that they supposed to put the belt on me and SD Jones, I got pissed off, jumped in my car and flew to LA and stayed for a month. Nobody knew where the hell I was at. When I came back, Rock was there. But their plan was, before I done that, they were going to put the belt on me and SD Jones. At that time, the Moondog was in Japan. They was going to come back from Japan, and they was going to take the belt off of us. So we were like what they call the intermediate champion.
Like a transition champion.
Transition champion. The same thing they did with superstar Billy Graham.
Right.
Transition champion. And then what the Sheik was a transition champion. But I screwed up the whole thing because I didn't show up. I didn't show up for the match in Philly. Right. Chief Dave Strongbow said, Tony, you don't want to miss this match, please. Because I locked my keys in the car. He said, I get you a locksmith. I take you to the show. I come back. He was almost bagging me in the parking lot. I didn't know what was going on. I was a young, dumb kid full of, steroids and drunk, half drunk. I got him. I left my car in the airport. The guy teased about it for forever. I left my car in the airport. Back in them days, if you had cash, you could get a ticket. You just pay the ticket, they put you on the plane. Back in them days, before 9/11. Right. So I went to LA and stayed for a moment. When I came back, they have, that's where they, SD we talked about it. If you watch the Hall of Fame speech, he said they kicked him to the curb and put Rock into his place because he was my original partner. But Vince never pushed me to that level again after they took the belt off me and Rock. And they never, because they didn't know when I was going to take off on him. I did, you talked to Jim Bronzell. Me and him was, we were the first team to beat Animal and Hawk, War Warrior.
Did not know that.
I walked out on him. I was the main event. I was selling out everything in AWA, and me and Jumpin' Jim Bronzell were the AWA tag team champions. I took Vern Gagne's place, and we beat the Legion of Doom, the first team to ever beat them in what that place, the Showboat in Los Angeles.
Wow.
In Las Vegas, the Showboat. Because Vern used to run Vegas.
Yep.
And then a week after that, Vince called me and said, Tony, I got an Africa trip. We really want to use you for it. And I said, I went and talked to Vern about it. Vern said, are you sure you're coming back? I said, I'll be back. I'm just going to do the thing for Africa. I come back. He said, okay, make sure you come back. So then when I get my ticket from Vince, it's a one-way ticket to Toronto, Canada. So I said, oh, well, maybe the rest of the stuff is in Canada. I'm not thinking. So then after we did, Vince wanted me to, he said, Tony, you're on certain match. I said, wait, this don't look right. I didn't want to be a shit disturber because I'm already on the shit list in a lot of territories anyway. So I said, why would Vern Gagne allow me to work Vince's television? Well, I didn't understand it. So he said, well, when you agreed to take the Africa trip, you also agreed to come back to work here. And I said, well, I got to call Vern to let him know what's going on, because I said, I'd much rather be here than with Vern anyway. And he said, don't worry about it. I took care of it. It's okay with Vern. Well, in 2006, Vern went into the Hall of Fame with me. Vern came up to me and said, kid, we have so many plans with you. He said, we were, and there's another guy told me, we were going to give you the belt. We were going to have you to beat Nick Bockwinkel. And you walked out on us. That was the second time I was told the same thing. So that was twice I passed up a chance of being world champion, not knowing about it. I was just a stupid, I had, like Old Anderson, every time he used me, he said, do you have your head on straight? Because my problem was, and I'm not trying to blow my own horn or nothing, but in real life, couldn't nobody beat me. And I had a hard time laying down. I had a 650-pound bench, 800-pound squat, and I was quick as a cat. And I fought in the Golden Gloves. I had 26 boxing matches, 26. I lost 1 out of 26. I was 4 years state collegiate champion, 2 years Greco-Roman champion.
So a roll-up from Jose Estrada is out of the question.
Yeah. Okay. And I was just a rugged. Yeah. I street fight my whole life. Right. I mean, you read my book. But by the time I was 12 years old, I've been in over 50 fights. By the time I was 12. When I was 13 years old, my daddy take me to Scrapper Corner in Lowmore, Virginia. Everybody in Lowmore and Clifton Ford in my hometown, they know about this. That's why I was the first wrestler that they used in their hometown. Because I got what we call a high tolerance to pain. I mean, I had women that punched me and kicked me in the face for fun. It don't hurt. A woman hit you like, kick you in the face with big heavy boots, she break your freaking jaw. But my dad used to make bets. He taught me where to hit a person at, to catch him on his chin. And he taught me how to hit. He said, if you ever hit a man and he don't go down, he gonna walk around behind him and see what's holding him up. So he said, son, I'm gonna teach you. He said, you don't need to know all that fight. You just know how to just that one good punch.
Mm-hmm.
So I practice. I got that one good fucking punch. And when I hit you, you got to go. You're not going to stay here. If you stand and after I tag you, I'm going to walk behind you and see what's on you. So I had this thing about me that I knew you can't beat me. I didn't give a fuck how big you were. I remember SD Jones used to always tell me I wanted to fight Andre so bad I didn't know what to do. I could taste it. I did. I wanted to fight Andre and SD Jones. Boss man.
No, shoot. You wanted to fight Andre in a shoot.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I wanted it so bad.
He means it. Did you hear that?
I could
Yes.
almost taste it, but
Oh my God, bro.
I learned my lesson about that. So anyway, I end up in Japan, and guess who I got across the ring from?
Oh yeah,
Andre the fucking Jank. And SD kept saying, boss man, you don't want to fuck with the Jank. The Jank will kill you. The Jank will kill you. You're fucking stupid. You have too much gimmick. Too much gimmick. You can't beat the fucking Jank. You can't beat the Jank. I don't care how strong you are. You can't beat the Jank. You can't beat the Jank. I said, SD, I tagged the motherfucker. I would drop him like a tree. The bigger they are, the harder. But don't go for Andre. Don't go for Andre. You're stupid. So anyway, I wrestled Andre. I got a picture of it. It's on the internet.
Yeah.
What did you do?
So I'm wrestling Andre, and all of a sudden out of my head, I had a pretty good drop kick.
Oh, here we go.
I tried to drop kick Andre to knock him off his feet.
Right.
You ever shoot a bow and arrow?
Yeah.
This is Andre. This is Andre. I go up, I hit Andre, I go through the rope. Just like that. Andre reached over, grabbed by the top of my fucking head. Felt like a pair of vice pliers. He lifted me up off from the floor. From the fucking floor
Where were the rubber
to the
plants?
mat by my head.
Oh my God.
I felt, I'm like, my feet is kicking in the fucking air like this. I had no idea what I was messing with. I never met a man like this. Andre put me up to the ring. What you doing? I said, I won't do that no more. He said, okay, and he released me. I dropped to the fucking floor. Now he gets in the ring, but now he's gonna punish me. He said, I'm not gonna check your oil. I said, good. What do you mean by check your oil? Andre will lay you on your stomach.
No.
Take his thumb and ram it up your butthole.
Nice. Great.
And you couldn't move. How you gonna get way over 500 pounds? You couldn't get him off it.
Human
so
colonoscopy.
what Andre did to me, he backed me up to the corner. Now a lot of people you look at on TV, it don't look bad.
Right.
He would take that big butt of his and hit. How did that feel, Sonny?
Oh,
it felt like a car
upon
was backing into
I
you.
wrestled Andre about 6 times, and you could feel his
I
body
lost my
weight
fucking
shift
lunch.
on top of you.
Yeah,
He never
hit you
checked
with
my
his
oil.
butt.
Now, I'm gonna get that straight. He never checked my oil, but
No.
you could feel that weight shift, and whenever he pinned you or back you into the corner,
My God.
woo!
I forgot about fighting Andre right away. Right
That was the
freaking
end
away.
of that, huh?
Then I still was thinking I'm the toughest guy in wrestling.
You send Pat after him.
And then I met Harley Race.
Oh man.
So
okay.
I met Harley Race. So we're in a bar one time. The guys messed with Harley. They messed with Harley. Well, I met Harley earlier. To back up a little bit, I met Harley earlier when I was about 19 years old. Harley was wrestling he was wrestling somewhere in Missouri or somewhere, Kansas City, Missouri, and there was a bunch of these rednecks. And I was scared to go to my car because I'm the only black guy, not only in the whole building, in the whole fucking town.
Right.
You know, it was an all-white town. I didn't see no black people nowhere. So I'm sitting in the dressing room. Harley said, "Hey kid, what you gonna do? Stay here all night?" And I said, "No, Harley." I said, "I'm scared of these people out there." He said, "Don't worry." He said, "Anybody fuck with you?" He just tell me, "You're a good friend of Harley Race." I whooped everybody in this town. But that's when I was young. Later, we're in a bar at the Ramada Inn in Atlanta. There's a guy who talked about fake wrestling and this and that. And I started to get up to whoop ass. Harley said, "You just sat here and watch this kid." He went around the fucking bar, bang, 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 knocked out all 3 guys, hit them out of sucker. I said, "Well, Tony, forget about fighting fucking Harley." Forget about fucking fighting
Check
Harley
that off
Race.
your bucket list.
Harley off, Harley Race off. So I
Two
learned
toughest
later
guys.
on in my life that there a lot of guys that didn't want to fight me. I found out it was a psychological thing that I did. They was looking at my belt, and they had convinced themselves they couldn't beat me. That's why it was so easy for me to beat people, because once they look at me, I can't beat that fucking guy.
Yeah, well,
but for guys that didn't
smart.
give a shit about that, like Andre or Harley Race, like I remember one time, Butch Reed, y'all had him on the show.
Yeah.
You ever tell you about him and Harley fighting Harley?
No.
Harley nearly killed him.
Really?
Harley beat Butch Reed so bad it was pulling for him. It was prolific. And Holly was stone freaking drunk. Butch kept giving them shit. And Butch were
Butch is huge.
one punch. That night, I mean, you said anybody about Holly Race in this business. Holly Race was a guy you did not want to fight. Well, that's what they wanted. Ric Flair was a tough SOB. Tommy Rich was tough. They would not put the belt on you unless you could fight.
Yeah, right.
Now, you couldn't whip your whip out of a wet paper bag and then put the title. Because we was always among Sunday, we was always among the fans. When you walked to your, if you was a heel, you had Fit Finlay. They just shoot at him.
Yeah.
Yeah. You asked some of these stories because there was no separation between us and the fans. We travel with them. You go to the hotel. All the arena reps was at the hotel.
Yeah.
All the fans was at the hotel. They knew where we stayed at. They knew where we ate at. They knew our schedule. They knew where we lived and everything.
They knew what town you were flying into, what airport, what
They
airline.
knew
Wow,
so
crazy.
they showed it. So they kept up with wrestling. So if you got into it, I'm not going to call this guy name. He's a good friend of mine. I just give this hint. He was at the show today, but I always told this story, but I never used his name. He was in a town one time. I'm not even going to name the town because then you start putting two and two together. I love this guy. I love him. Loving him to death. And he was in a town one day, and we all of us had a study girl that we see. Well, anyway, he met a new girl. So the old girlfriend showed up. So they got into it. The old girl didn't like the idea of him being with this new girl. So she went home and told her brothers. So they're going to come back to teach this guy a lesson. Yeah. When they looked in, they saw who it was. So they said, oh shit, we don't want to mess with him. He's so-and-so.
Right, yeah.
He's so-and-so. So anyway, they said, one guy came up with an idea. So they went in and started banning him shots. They got him sloppy, freaking drunk. We could barely walk. Right. They said, oh, let me help you to the car, brother. Well, he had 3 more guys waiting outside with pick handlers.
Jesus.
So when he got outside the bar, they beat the crap out of him. You probably know who I'm talking about. With pick handlers. You hear about this, right? With pick handlers. He came to he just won the belt. He came to the match the following day, the promoter fired him.
Because he got his ass kicked.
If you lose a fight with a mob,
That's right.
you was fired.
You're done.
That's why with Gorilla Monsoon, when Muhammad Ali got in the ring with Monsoon picked his ass up and threw him into the 3rd row. You could not lose to Mike Tyson. You could not lose to Muhammad Ali. You could not lose to Bruce Lee. You could lose to one of the boys.
Right.
But not to a fan. You was gone. You was gone. So they was very, very careful. I remember when they first wanted to put the belt on me, they were going to take the belt off of Ken Patero and make me the Mid-Atlantic champion.
Intercontinental champion.
No, that was Mid-Atlantic.
Mid-Atlantic.
Charlotte.
Gotcha.
And they want to put the belt on me. I remember Paul Jones, who was real popular. They don't talk about him much. I mean, they were real popular. They were Paul Jones.
Yeah.
Him and Wahoo Mike Daniel, Rufus R. Jones, and Black Jack Mulligan was in the room talking because we used to go there to pick up our checks. And then all the top guys would stay so they could discuss what they're going to do for the rest of the week. They say, you're going to be, like they say, Tony, you're going to be married to Sonny here, which means we're going to be working a program.
Working together.
Yeah, we're going to be working against each other. So we would just discuss what we're going to, what we're going to do for the whole week.
What towns, what angles, whatever.
Yeah, what angle we're going to do and how we're going to make this work. We all knew what the final outcome was going to be, but how you're going to get to that point. But anyway, I rode with Rufus R. Jones, and I remember George, one of the wrestlers, I can't remember if it was Blackjack or Wahoo, that said, can he fight? And
it was Wahoo.
Probably Wahoo said, can he fight? Said, we know he's a good wrestler, but wrestling got nothing to do with street fight. Can he street fight? And I remember the guy said, well, I know somebody could find out for me. But they had this, now there's another tough SOB that would not fight. Sweet Hansen.
Yeah.
Big Swede.
Woo! Brother, Godzilla. Looked like him, fought like him, and it's so freaking strong. I took him to the gym for the first day of my life. He bench pressed 500 pounds. Wow. Never worked out a day in his life. Just a natural, we call him raw strength. Had that raw strength. Kind of like John Leith or Jonathan. The same thing. He was like raw strength, never worked out, but just incredibly strong. So he take me to this bar. I walked in, they got Confederate flag, Stonewall Jackson here, what's your name? Robbie Lee there.
It's looking good so far. Go
Oh
on.
yeah, now I'm sitting there. I know the other walk in this freaking bar. Bikes on outside, Harley Davidson bike. People in the bar with colors. You know, with colors on it, right?
Yep.
So you see colors.
You got problems, yeah.
You got problems. So anyway, this girl, they had a little strip place and pool tables, all that, old fashioned bar. They had everything: pool tables, strippers, food, beer, just like a Walmart bar. So anyway, the girl came over and she said, "Hi, how you doing?" I said, I'm doing okay." She slapped me and said, "Nigga, don't you keep texting me?" I said, "I didn't text you." The guy from the table took a pool ball and put it in his fist. Came over and drilled me right in the fucking face.
Wow.
With a pool ball in his fist. Another guy whacked me across the back with a pool ball. The guy on the bar threw a beer mug at me and tried to leg down me. Well, I started just swinging like crazy. I'm scared to death. I don't know if I got hit or if I'm bleeding or something broke. I get outside. The guy that brought me to the bar, he's sitting there with his arm folded. He said, "Hey, very good, kid. You can fight." He gave each one of the guys $20.
Oh my God. Wow.
They wanted to see if I could fight.
Yeah.
Well, they found out.
Back then, they used to test you to see if you were
That's
tested.
right. It was hazing. They did hazing. And they wouldn't put the belt on just anybody.
Sure.
And that's why a lot of people didn't like Hogan because he was never hazed. See, they knew Hollywood. They knew the Briscoe.
But you see, there was a difference though. Now wait a minute.
The Briscoe.
There was a
Warrior.
difference there because Hogan, even though when he first started, he wasn't had an amateur background or anything like that.
Right.
But I'll tell you what made him, okay, and what made everybody start respecting him because he trained with Matsuda.
Matsuda
tried to
broke
break
his
his
leg,
leg.
right?
He left that
He
part.
did break
He did.
his leg. I was there.
And then he came back. That's why they respected him.
Damn right.
He came
And
back.
he came back saying that
wants
he
it.
respected Hero for what he did.
That's right. Yeah.
And I was there when he did it, man. I mean, see, Hogan didn't have a fair chance in the beginning
No, he didn't.
because
They were afraid of him because he was so big.
well, no, they didn't want him to be a wrestler because he was there because he was so big, and they thought
he was a bass player.
He was clumsy.
right,
He was a musician.
and they
Yeah,
didn't
that's right,
respect
yeah.
him.
That's
So
right.
I remember my father and everybody saying, "Man, Matsuda was going to train him, and if he could go through what Matsuda did,
That's right.
then he deserved it, right?" Well, let me tell you something. Hogan hung out, and he got his leg broken, and he came back, and plus he learned how to shoot from Matsuda.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, you put someone that size that knows how to shoot,
Yeah.
you better believe he's tough.
Damn.
And that was the thing. He trained with Matsuda. You know what? Anybody can go through his training. I'm sorry,
You
deserve
tough.
to be
You
in
tough.
this business.
Hulk Hogan is a tough dude.
All right,
But
guys.
when he came to WWF, the guys had a different perspective on him because they wanted to haze him.
Because they didn't know.
They didn't know. They didn't know. They wanted
Well, they
to
had to
haze
learn.
him. Yeah, they
All right, we
wanted
got
to
about a minute left. Can each of you just have final thoughts on Rocky Johnson? Go around the circle.
I miss him. I love him. We had our ups, we had our downs, but sure had my wife. I had ups and downs with my wife. Had ups and downs with my daughter. I still love my daughter. I still love my wife, and I still love and miss Rocky Johnson. He was a great talent. I wish he was here now. I'm gonna miss the hell out of him. I have no ill feeling towards him. I have nothing bad to say about him, and I just really, really miss Rocky. He wasn't a bad guy. He was a good guy.
We're all
Deep
gonna
down
miss
inside,
him.
He was a good guy. Yeah,
He was a
Definitely a
great
good
man.
yeah, he was a good
No
guy.
doubt.
Hell of a talent. Hell
I
of
mean,
a
he
talent.
gave us The Rock, Dwayne. So, what's not to like about that? He's the #1 Hollywood movie star
That's
now,
right. And he's still as humble as ever.
and
He was
still
very
doing
humble.
great things.
He was
Great
very
things.
humble.
I think any parent who has a child is probably the greatest thing, no matter, it's probably the
Yeah,
greatest
exactly.
thing any, man or woman could do. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for coming in today. What an incredible! This could have
had a
went on
great
for
day.
3 hours. I could have sat on there.
Thank you.
I want to thank the fans for tuning in. This has been Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh. You can see us on iHeartRadio, Anchor, YouTube, Spotify, Google Play, Breaker, and also on cable on channel 115 every Tuesday from 8:30 to 9 p.m. in the reduced version, and then on Saturday at channel 115 at 6 a.m. and soon to be
Soon.
on channel 20.
Soon enough.
Stay tuned for WWE superstar Mr. Hughes in studio. Pharaoh?
You've been watching Monty and the Pharaoh until very shortly from now. Later.